You guys have computers that can fit on your lap. Like, holy crap. That's so friggin' cool. Internet cafe guy had a laptop, and he gave it to me, the sweetie. Folks tend to do that for me, but I won't spoil why that is for you. Is that how your new lingo works? Oh, also apparently, I've been told not to curse as much in the peanut gallery. Comments? Whatever. Yes, you guys in the 2010s are prudes, but okay. Just don't get all whiny when I start talking about my high school years, okay? Mommy and Daddy told you how the birds and the bees work, right? Anyway, where did I leave off? Oh right, I was 13 and I just went from ugly duckling to swan. I was also smart. I mean freaking brilliant. I wasn't a moron by any regard before, but after Blilau's deal, I went into overdrive. Everything in my life was on easy street. I skipped 2 grades, and even then, I was told to send out college applications at age 16. 16. I was hyped up and having the time of my life. The male population of my school was also having the time of their lives. I was 16, but I had the banging body of an 18-year-old and the sex drive of a 30-year-old divorcee. I wasn't stupid though. I used condoms like crazy. I think I spent more money on those than anything else, to be honest. Granted, the sexual revolution had already happened, but I think I was pushing for the sequel in the late 70s. What can I say? I was hot, I was smart, I knew how to sweet talk guys. The thing was though that every single guy wanted me to be their girlfriend to show off. I wasn't having that. These guys were around for me, not the other way around. Some folks called me a slut, and I didn't care. I told them I was just a female stud. Sex was just something I enjoyed doing, not much else, kind of like a hobby or watching TV. But I was actually focused on my studies regardless. Heck, half the time I didn't even spend the night at my sexual conquest house because I had homework to complete. I later graduated valedictorian of my class thanks to all my hard work. Jenny, Beth, and I had a huge party, and the 2 little bitches got me a cake that read valedictorian. I didn't even know they made penis-shaped cakes. At least things were going well enough until I had kind of a rough night. See, I had a curfew from my father. He was very convinced that I was his little angel. While I could have given him a lecture about female empowerment and the like, I never really got around to it. One night, I was having the ride of my life and lost track of time. Before I knew it, I was 30 minutes late for my curfew. I rushed home as fast as I could, and my boy toy drove me home as quickly as possible because I told him my father would kill him. When I did get home, I got a scolding from my mother. She said my father was out looking for me for the past hour. She had me wait up for him for another hour or so, both of us waiting in our dining room. When your father gets home, you are going to get it, young lady. You may be a bright girl with good grades, but we won't be seeing you throw that away for some boy, she shouts. Boys, I said under my breath. Excuse me, young lady? Snickering, I shake my head. Nothing, Mom. That's when a knock came to the door. My mother glances at me. Well, go make yourself useful and answer the door. I sigh and get to my feet. Opening the door, I see a cop. Can I help you, officer? Is this the Baker residence? He asks. Yes, I answer. My mother made it to the door after she heard me say officer. Mrs. Baker? The cop asks. My mother nods. Yes? What's going on? I'm sorry, ma'am, but your husband was in a terrible accident. He was pronounced dead at the scene. To say I blamed myself was a major understatement. Somehow my father wrapped his car around a tree, all while looking for me. Despite all this, Mom was super supportive, and she never let me blame myself. She said it could have been him driving anywhere, and that there was no reason for him to try scouring the neighborhood that late at night. I was really down in the dumps, and I decided I was going to stop with the sex and be a respectable young lady in memory of my father. That worked out for about 1 whole week. I don't know why, but I just could not handle it. I'd see a cute boy, and despite myself, I just had to have him. I know this sounds insensitive and all, but I legitimately was using it to cope, and it's the only way I knew how to feel good. When I was having sex, I wasn't thinking about my father or how he might have died entirely because of me. I was just enjoying the sex. It was probably around this time when I was a full-blown addict. I just wasn't ready to admit it. It was a little over 1 year later when I was doing my freshman year in college. Harvard, by the way. as a beautiful kid genius in the biochemistry program. I was still focused on my goal mostly. The memory of my deal was kind of fuzzy, and the more I looked back at it, the crazier it sounded. Around campus, I was called jailbait, as I was still 17. Before you nuns get all freaking crazy on me, the age of consent in Maryland is 14, as long as the person I'm banging isn't more than 4 years older. That meant that college boys were now on the menu. Anyway, that's when 17-year-old me found a 19-year-old Dave Miller. Now, I've never been a one-dick gal, but when I met Dave, lawyer, rich as hell daddy, and overall nice guy, well, I eventually did the whole boyfriend thing. Poor bastard didn't realize I was under 18. I can't blame him. I sure as shit didn't look like a teenager at this point. Whether Blee-Lau tossed something extra into the contract or not, I wasn't sure, but I was sporting some fairly large, well, I thought they were large at the time, D-cups. Calm yourselves, I'm not sending you photos, this internet thing has enough boobs anyway. Just letting you know just about how helpless Dave was to my charms. He even convinced me once to go without the rubber, and I did. And man, oh man. Apparently, I was doing sex wrong for all my life. That was a hell of a night. I did pay for it though. Now, I'm a biochemistry major. When Dave said, "Baby, let's ditch the condom tonight," I had said no plenty of times before, but it was a safe night. There was no way I was ovulating for the next few weeks, and I even made sure to get him to fire off before we actually went bareback. So either Dave has the most resilient sperm in the world, or orgasms make me ovulate out of my schedule, because 2 weeks later I'm vomiting into a toilet and cursing Dave's desire for a good time. "You said it was a safe day," Dave was shouting at me. "Well, it was as far as I knew. You gotta have the virility of Genghis Khan or something." "My father is going to kill me," he was fretting. "Listen, I'll pay you to get rid of it, how's that?" I'm going to blink 3 times and imagine that didn't slip out of your mouth. Roe versus Wade might be a thing, but I'm still an upstanding Catholic girl. Dave laughed in my face. "I found out from my buddies you fucked half your damn chem class." "Lies and slander," I shouted. "Unless you're counting the girls, because then maybe it is half. But I think the only one who didn't get a ride was the professor. Also, I'd like to point out that you're no virgin either, and last I checked, you weren't complaining. In fact, you can't get enough." Dave is pacing around now. "My father is going to kill me." "Bonus points there, Dave. No need for condoms now," I say plainly. Dave just stops and stares at me, and I can tell you right then and there, the boy was in love. "You can't go to school while you're knocked up, though." "I can for some of it," I complained. "There's no way you'll be able to participate and make all the doctor's visits. Just take a semester off." That was the worst part about the pregnancy to me, having to take a semester off university. I hated that. I'm 18 by the time I pop the kid out, and of course Dave's dad doesn't want bastard children running around, so we get hitched. I keep my name though, because I'm a strong independent woman or something. Back then, that mattered. Now, it doesn't for me. Jason was born, and he was a beautiful baby. Want to know what else was still beautiful? Me. I recovered from that kid in 24 hours to the shock of every doctor and the envy of every other mother in the maternity ward. Probably should have been tipped off by the fact that I was still dressing to show off up to 9 months with the kid. I didn't even have stretch marks. I had folks cursing my genetics and I enjoyed every moment of it. After that, it was right back to school and hitting the books hard. Now for folks wondering how I was handling being a teenage mother, I'd like to point out that when daddy's the heir to a fortune, it makes being a teenage mother super easy. Again, I was not sweating it. I merely skipped a step in the whole game of life thing. At this point in my life, between school, the kid, husband, and trying to make sure I never fell behind in my extracurricular activities, I pretty much forgot about the deal that I made. To me, it was some weird fantasy I had when I was a kid. I couldn't have had ALS as a kid. That would be impossible. I was rocking high heels even when pregnant, so there was no way I had a progressive neurodegenerative disease. I had to have been misdiagnosed. My parents didn't even remember the doctor's visit. It wasn't until the age 21 that I had my rude awakening. Since my party girl status was pretty much dead, what with me being married and a mom, I had to keep my escapades during college on the droll side. I mean, I guess I got on my wild sex out in high school and freshman year, but I'll be honest, Dave really was having trouble keeping up with me. I wasn't about to divorce him, but I was going to start talking to him about threesomes. Vanilla ice cream all day is boring. You've got to add a scoop of chocolate to keep things interesting. Jenny had a private birthday set for me at her place. Just the two of us chilling out on the eve of my birthday and drinking the night away. The nanny had the kids, so why not cut loose? Jenny had bought some vodka, whiskey, brandy, and an assortment of drink mixes. Sarah, we should fuck. We were a good halfway into our little liquor supply when Jenny just out and said it, drunk off her ass. Jenny was a pretty girl, and she grew up to be a pretty adult. Not going to lie, if I did swing for the other team, I'd probably give her a try. Granted, it was never off the table. Me, I've got Irish blood, so of course I can tell Jenny is just sloshed. Okay, Jenny, keep your shirt on. No, she slurred as she tried and failed to remove her shirt. We're supposed to experiment when we're in college. I'm laughing hysterically at her when she slurs and fails completely at removing her shirt. She then passes out in my lap. I turn her to her side, making sure she doesn't vomit in her sleep and choke on it. We're both on the floor at this point, plenty of booze consumed and some silly board games all over the place when I spot the clock hitting 12. Happy birthday to me. I take another shot. Happy birthday to you. I hear a man's voice wheeze. A chill runs down my spine because I knew that voice. Happy birthday to you. I turn around, and materializing out of nowhere is a man. He's tall, he has wings, and he's wearing a similar business suit as he did before. All white. His eyes are black with little swirls of yellow where his irises should be. Black hair, a black goatee, and he's just floating, disembodied in the air. I think I can see through him. Happy birthday, dear Sarah. Happy birthday to you. He grins at me. No, I whisper. This has got to be a terrible alcohol-fueled hallucination. Yes, Blee-Lau hisses. He looks at a non-existent watch on his wrist. As a fair question, Sarah, how's the research coming along? I kid you not, I was actually really close to cracking a neuroprotective compound that could have acted as a free radical scavenger, which might have reduced oxide stress on neurotransmitters. Point was, I had barely gotten a formal paper together on it, just as a question of a hypothesis. I squeaked out to him, I need more time. His hands clasped together happily. Oh, Sarah, of course. If you need more time, that's completely possible for you. However, the old deal, I'm afraid, can't be modified. So how about a second one? I'm panicking. Okay, yeah, sure. What do you want? The soul of your son, he replies. A contract appears in my hands, and I stare blankly at it. You have 30 seconds. My rational brain calculated the pros and cons of the entire situation, thinking that maybe I could get my paper all situated in 5 years. Because my research was solid, it really could have paid off if I managed to get a few of the professors to help out with it. Again, I just never had the paper fully written. The compound needed testing, validation, maybe a grant or two? All that being said, there's something weird that happens to you when you're a mother. When someone puts your child at risk, you stop thinking. I tore the contract in half before I even finished considering how long it would take me to finish the first draft. Blee-Lau smiled at me. Oh, what a caring mother. Time's up. Glaring at him, I crossed my arms defiantly over my chest. Okay, fine, so what? I'm yours now? Blee-Lau floats over Jenny, and I roll my eyes as he does. If all of this was to watch me make out with Jenny, you should know that it may have happened after a few more drinks, I mock. A few more drinks? Blee-Lau grins. That's an awfully full bottle of vodka, Blee-Lau points out. I noticed the bottle of vodka that Jenny and I were doing shots out of. Yeah, she bought it today, along with some other stuff for mixed drinks, birthday celebrations, you know. Drink that entire bottle of vodka, right away, he commands. Are you crazy? I say as I grab the bottle and remove the top. You can't expect me to drink all of that at... Before I realize what's happening, I've got the bottle to my lips, tilted all the way back, and I'm downing a little over a liter of vodka. My eyes go wide as I watch the liquid drain from the bottle as my throat just opens up on its own accord. I'm gulping down the vodka like a dehydrated man gulps water in the desert. When it's empty, I drop the bottle, feeling dizzy, gasping. Oh God, I'm gonna... Don't vomit. Try as I might, with my stomach and throat burning, I cannot. Oh my, is that whiskey? I'm finding the room is spinning, and I can actually feel my brain slowing down thanks to the spike in my blood alcohol content. Wait! Drink that entire bottle of whiskey right now. I'm stumbling my way toward it. My stomach is doing backflips. I can feel the urge to vomit surge through me, but nothing happens. It's full. It's a full bottle. I've drunk too much. I'm having trouble breathing, but I still see the bottle of whiskey rising up in my vision. I drink it down, the same as before, gasping as I feel it burning my throat and my stomach feels like it's going to burst. The bottle drops and I hit my knees. My vision is blurring. Why make me do this? Blelau smiles. Your body is worthless, Sarah. I need your soul. Good night. The room spins around. I reach out to Jenny, trying to breathe, but finding myself gasping for breath. The last thing I remember is the floor rushing up to meet me as my vision tunnels and everything goes black. I see a white tunnel, and at the end, a bright yellow light. This will sound crazy, but bear with me. The light looks sad, like it's disappointed or something. I'm then stuck in the tunnel, and in an instant, I'm being ripped backward. Before I know what's going on, I'm back at Jenny's place, landing on my ass on the floor. I grunt with the impact, and I look around, seeing Blelau now as a solid being. He's still in his white business ensemble, but now I can see his legs clearly. He's wearing what looks like very expensive tailored slacks, and dress shoes with silver metal tips on the toes and heels. His black wings are closed behind him, and it almost looks like the yellow in his eyes is rising out of the sockets like steam. His hair moves like it's underwater for some reason. What in the hell was that? I shout. What a cute choice of words, Blelau taunts. I get to my feet, march right up to him, and jab my finger in his chest. What is the big deal making me drink that much? I could have died! Blelau isn't concerned with my finger prodding. He just smiles. Could have? He looks over my shoulder. I turn around looking at what Blelau was glancing at. There on the floor is my body, whiskey bottle in hand, passed out right on top of Jenny. While I can see the steady rise and fall of Jenny's chest, I notice my body isn't moving. It's right then and there I realize that I'm dead, and I'm looking at my own corpse.